What's up? It's
What
Shelby
up?
here with Jake. Jake Catterall, who are you and what are you planning?
I am Jake Catterall, an ultrarunner in Amsterdam. I'm from England and I'm planning a never ran before route running from the ocean to the high Atlas Mountains.
Heck yeah. And how long is that route and how much vertical gain are you going to capture along the way?
I'm going to do this in meters, so you're going to have to get your converters out. But it is 350 kilometers and around 15,000 meters elevation. So it's very meaty in both distance and in height. And day one will be the easiest puzzle to solve, as it's like the easier elevation. It will be around maybe 2,000 meters. Which means day 2 and day 3 will be exceptionally hard, as it will be divided into a very bigger section.
Holy moly. And what inspired you to do this?
I have been doing ultra events now for the last 5 years, and the very first one I did was a 200-kilometer run, a road run. It was very punchy. It was one day of focus and a lot of mental strength to get it done. The next event I did after that was I cycled a whole lap of the country of Iceland, non-stop. I literally got on my bike in Reykjavik and didn't stop until I got back to the other side of the country. And that took me 63 hours. That was a non-stop ride. And then after that, I ran from Norway, the very top of Norway, to the very south of Spain. And that was a multi-stage situation. So it took me 93 days to do it. And after I'd ran that event, I realized that actually doing multiple stages over very long periods of time, so over like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, when you get to the middle section of the event, it actually starts to become more routine and less about resilience. And actually, when I got into this, it was all about resilience. It was all about how hard can I go in one situation and can I make it to the end? And I think what I discovered on the Europe run especially was when I was getting to the end, I just knew I could get there. And actually that clarity is not why I'm doing this. I want to be unsure. I don't want to know the answer. And that's what I love about long distance events, is that even the smallest things can provide the biggest curveballs.
Super cool. So you mentioned you were very excited to sleep in some desert bushes. What's your sleep plan for this event?
What's my go-to bush sleeping situation? Yeah.
Are
Well,
you laying back? Are you like in the fetal position? Yeah. How are you sleeping in these bushes?
yeah, I'm sort of picturing like the crew car will be with me, and I'm sort of envisioning sort of the crew car stopping, me saying I need a ground mat and my sleeping bag, and just pulling up on the side of the road and just sleeping right there. Like that's sort of my plan, and I don't want to do a full like 7 hours sleep. I just want to get like what's necessary. Like a similar situation if you were doing something like Cocodona, which some people do, some crazy people do, is like get those 2 hours of sleep in. They're essential 2 hours, and then wake up and go. And that's the plan. So probably a lot of fetal positions.
So zooming out a bit, what was your process for planning this adventure and how did you go about planning the route specifically?
Yeah, I think in terms of why I chose this location specifically was like quite childlike, is that I've always wanted to come to Morocco. Always. Like ever since I was very young. I love the idea, I love the colors, I love the culture, I love the shapes. Everything is there's been a draw for me to come here. And I just wanted to, after my big events that I've done so far, I just wanted to create something that would sort of tick the box of like true exploration. something where I really am going into the unknown. And actually, that's where Footpath came in really handy, because it wasn't like I have no idea about Morocco. I don't know anything about the trails. I don't know anything really. And I needed a start point and an end point, and that was really easy to figure out. But the hard part is just figuring out, like, how do you run on the trail from A to B? You know, so that's actually the thing that's been the biggest problem solver of this whole thing, is using an app where I can sort of change in between the suggested line that Footpath app gives, you know, so you click from one place to the other and it will suggest the line. But more specifically for me has been to toggle between the satellite imagery, because I need to know not only is this suggested line correct and I can believe in it, but I can literally see it. I can see the trail, and there's no gray areas there. And for the places where there are unsure places, I think that's where I can use my experience as someone who's been in the mountains a lot to then solve those problems like then and there. But I don't think you should do that just completely blind, you know. So I think the app has come in as a huge success for me.
That's great to hear. Where, you mentioned the map overlays. Are there any other specific Footpath features that really stood out to you in that planning process?
Yeah, I think one main thing for me is safety. And safety is something that I think is a core to what I do. Like I love calculated risk, you know, like I love pushing it really hard, but I love being safe all at the same time. And I think one particular feature was the ski mode, where you could see the thermal gradient. It's like the slopes, and being able to see that there are like hard ridges with steep slopes coming off the side gives you a chance to think, okay, can I run the ridgeline or not? Is that ridgeline too steep or not? You know, so I think using that tool in combination with the satellite images and the suggested lines, I think it's like you get a really sure bet of like, if I go into this range, am I coming out of it? And I think that is the best way to find an answer to like the adventure you're going on.
Yeah, and so now that you have the route mapped, how do you plan on actually navigating it?
Yeah, I am using a Garmin watch to navigate the whole situation. It turns out, as I've landed in Morocco, I have forgotten my charging cable to my watch. So, drama, I will have a little bit of an issue with using my watch because I'll be doing power saving. But it will be I've basically just exported the route from Footpath straight into my watch, so I'll just be navigating through from the GPS.
Sweet. Yeah, and if those watches die, I guess you can always just pull up the app and have
or
your
like
course on there.
or I'll just completely disappear and you'll never see me again.
No, the wild dogs will take you into their den. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, but you're right. I can use the app because we will be using this live tracking feature as well. That we've used the sort of the tracking data from the InReach. So it will be a bit of combination between using the watch and using my phone.
Gotcha. And so if anybody listening to this is dreaming up their own big multi-day adventure, what would you give them for advice?
First, experience. Figure out something small to first get your grounding. Understand your system. Understand how watches work. Understand how your food and navigation and everything work in a relatively controlled environment. Something that will test you, but something that you can really understand how the whole navigation process works. And from there, I would literally jump to the sky after that event. Once you understand how it all works, go and choose somewhere in the world that's absolutely mental, and then just use this app to just figure out like how you can do it. For me, it was an idea first, and then I put some time on like where would I like to go in the world, and three, I would then use this app to sort of connect the 2 points from A to B, and I'm now here, you know? So it literally is like, it might sound overly simplified, but that literally is the meat of what I did to get here.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You get the basics down, know how to take care of yourself in the wild, know how to feed yourself, move safely through a remote space, and then you can do anything with the right map.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible. So, yeah, you are taking off tomorrow morning. It is Tuesday, April 22nd right now. And so Jake leaves the morning of the 23rd, planning on finishing around Friday or Saturday, TBD.
Yes.
One last question for you so you can go get one more sleep would be, what are you most worried about and what are you most excited about?
I think the worries are probably a mixture of wild animals. Wild dogs are really it just keeps coming up as a problem. Everyone I speak to says like it is something to be cautious of. I think something that I'm both excited and a little scared about is people and culture. You never know how your presence will be like accepted into a place, and so far in the day that we've been here, it's been exceptional. And I just think like doing this year after year, you have mixed experiences. So I think I have spent the day learning some basic Arabic language, which will be very helpful. So they're the sort of things I have caution with. But really the thing I'm most excited about is just really checking that box of like, what did my childhood self want? You know, is this a trip that would really like fulfill those dreams as a young boy? And I'm dreaming of those trails. I'm dreaming of those places, of me navigating to get to where my goal and my dream was. And I think being in the moment on the trail is something that I'm really, really looking forward to.
Well, we're really excited for you. I want to say keep us posted, but we will be kept posted by watching your dot on the Footpath map. And then we'll get to touch base with you when you return. And I know you have some incredible content projects brewing around this project. So we can't wait to see what this adventure looks like through your eyes and the eyes of your film crew. So let's go.
Yes. Nice. Yeah, I'll give you a full rundown of the post-match event as well. I think I will have more of a beard and probably be a lot more tanned. The sun UV index here is very high, and even just spending lunch on the beach today, there was a lot of burnt skin. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, cover that up.
Yeah, the Garmin tattoo, the watch tan is going to be extreme, I think.
Perfect way to start the summer. You know, you already got your tan lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jake.